committee. She did it so I don't have to, so that was excellent. The reason this came about is because the original membership included one Board of Health member, and they've been unable to make that commitment. They've let Allison know they just can't do it. So as a result, we've had one meeting where we didn't make the quorum, and the vendor came out, our consultant came out, came all the way here, so we couldn't actually meet or discuss. And the other thing, it's kind of perfect timing because we were looking for a way as a board to get the input of someone on the master plan committee, because we are trying to make zoning fit the master plan. And it would be best for us not to have to interpret as a team. There's 7 of us, but none of us were on the master plan committee planning. So if we had someone firsthand tell us how they developed the goals, or the things that came out, the to-do items from the master plan, or their giant vision, how we can incorporate that into zoning, it would be helpful to get that firsthand knowledge, and then we interpret, and then we'd have the ability to ask questions. But it's put us at a real deficit, especially because this is a long-running committee, and there will be times when people are on vacation or holidays, and we are meeting every single month for the, I don't know, next year and a half, 2 years. So this was the pleasure of the committee. I'm representing
Okay.
the entire board.
So you mentioned that the member of the Board of Health, did you go out to the Board of Health to see if there was another person that wanted to sit here, or are you just cutting them out altogether?
So I spoke with Dave Willett, the health agent, and he spoke with the board, and none of them are able to make the commitment. So they confirmed that effectively if that slot remains allocated to the Board of Health, it will be vacant for the duration of the work.
Okay.
How does Dave Willett feel about losing a position on the committee?
He and I talked about it, and I don't think that there's a lot of connectivity between the Board of Health and the zoning bylaws. They have Title V regulations, they have Board of Health regulations that they enforce, but they don't really have a strong connection to the zoning bylaw. So he and I talked about it and agreed that I'll keep him informed, as I would with any of the department heads who would be impacted by any of their proposed changes, and we'll, talk it over that way internally and make sure that, their input or his input is incorporated.
Did the zoning bylaw review committee vote to make this change?
Did we take an official vote?
I don't think there was an official vote. There was discussion, and the consensus was that it was fine. No one is in favor of mandating a vacancy long-term. There's too much work.
Madam Chair, if I might?
Selectman Draco?
Well, I think these members have been serving the town for many, many, many years. And if for some reason they can't do it, I think, we appoint. So I don't know why we wouldn't have them come in and tell us they can't do it for whatever reason. I don't like to hear it from someone else that they can't. I would rather hear it from them, seeing we appoint them. And at some point, this might be a reason why maybe some of them just can't do it anymore, whether it be health, whether it be work, whatever it might be. And it might be their opportunity to, bow out or do whatever. But I think we owe it to them because, like I said, they've served the town for many years. I think they've all been on a long time. I just think we owe them that.
If I could ask a question, Joe. When the Board of Health was also not attending economic development, and we came with a charter change to just eliminate them from the charter, is that correct?
No,
Or
it wasn't the Board of Health.
What was it?
It was.
It was Dave. Dave held the position.
He stepped down because we wanted to bring on more members at large. So we had a discussion, and Dave said, well, I'm happy to be a non-voting member and be there for the meetings and give you ideas and talk about it, but
Okay.
not be a voting member. So that's the way that happens.
Okay. Isn't this a similar situation? Like Dave didn't come before us and tell us that he's not able to attend. We took your word for it that he was unable to attend.
True.
I just look at it as we are the appointing authority for them. And I just think we owe it to them after all these years, instead of taking something away, give them the opportunity. This could be the opportunity where they say, look, I just can't participate anymore.
Yes, we have a few board members and other boards and committees that it's getting to that point, but we really in my opinion, for these particular ones, it should be left up to them. They've been serving the town for 30 or 40
Who
years,
are we
or
talking-
whatever.
Right.
I'm confused. So who are we leaving it up to? The three people that our choices are unable to come.
All three are unable to come.
Unable to attend, no
You're saying
interest
they
and
can't
unable.
come.
Yes, that's what we've heard.
They have indicated.
We don't-
they
I
will
don't
not be
know that.
present. I don't,
I don't know that.
Okay.
Who serves on the Board of Health?
Paul Ennis,
Paul Ennis,
Evan,
Evan
Evelyn
Demelis?
Demelis and,
and
Dr. Russo.
Dr. Russo.
right.
They're all long time.
Yeah, they've been on for many, many years. They've served the town very well. I just think I think the proper way of doing it is giving them the opportunity, that's all. I don't like taking something away from somebody who's been here for that long. That's my thought. That's my thought. I think we owe them that.
Were they appointed to begin with? I mean,
Yes.
did they know they were supposed to show?
yes,
They did,
yes,
and they did,
yes, so Dr. Russo is the official
yeah.
Board of Health representative. And when he wasn't able to attend, we reached out and had that conversation, and none of them had the
Right.
ability to attend, so. But I personally have no issue, if, you know, you guys wanna talk to the Board of Health members, that's,
I personally think we get a lot more bang for our buck if we find somebody on the master plan committee to join the bylaw committee. I mean, that seems to me like a no-brainer, especially when you have three people that have served the town for 20, 30, 25, 30 years and just don't have the commitment to go another 2 years meeting every month on a real working committee. You know, if Joe wants to recheck to see if they're really not interested, that's fine, but I'm okay with changing the representative to the master plan committee.
Madam Chair, if I may. This committee notwithstanding, I do have a concern that we have some people that just aren't able or aren't willing to attend the meetings that they've been appointed to, so I don't know, I would like to have that conversation with them to see if there's something that we can do to help, or, you know, if there are any issues that we don't know about.
I mean, to me, it just could be, you know, some of them may want to, you know, they've reached that time. They've been there 30-some-odd years. Maybe they don't want it anymore, or they just can't do it, and don't have a way of giving it up. Let's put it that way. I don't know. I'd like to have the conversation with them.
So what are we saying? Are we making a motion to continue this? What are we saying?
I think the motion would be, by the next meeting, whoever's interested in interviewing these folks can get something in writing that whether they are willing to make the commitment or decline the offer.
From the Board of Health you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Because our next meeting, Allison, it's always the first Thursday of the
Yes.
month. So we
Yep.
need someone on this committee by the first Thursday in October.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jen.
Are you seeing any other issues? Because you said nobody from the Board of Health showed up, so you didn't reach a quorum. Are you seeing any other issues with,
Well, it's a struggle every time if someone can't make it because there's 7 of us. And we already have 1 vacancy every single time. So it was kind of a scramble, our last meeting, to make sure every single person was coming.
and you're saying that the one vacancy every time is the Board of Health member?
is, yes.
Okay.
So the quorum isn't met? The quorum's met, right? If you have 6 out of 7, you've met the quorum, correct?
Right, but then that doesn't afford anyone else to take a vacation or
Yep.
be sick or have a family
I think
emergency.
through the summer, it was more difficult with vacations and things to align, you know, just make sure that, again, because there's a consultant coming out to each meeting.
Is this a 2/3 vote or majority vote for any votes that the zoning bylaw review committee?
Just majority.
Just majority.
It's a full majority, right?
Yeah, I mean, the goal wouldn't, I think if we were at a point as a committee, Heather, correct me if I'm wrong, if it
Mhm.
were, 4-3, we would probably have some more discussion
Mhm.
generally. It's not, the goal is to have consensus and all agree before we recommend something move forward.
It's a committee that requires a lot of work in between meetings as well, so it's not something you just show up to. The first meeting, I think I did at least 8 hours of reading and editing through Conveo. So it has to be someone that's really invested in the process, because it is a long-term process and it's important. I don't know why we wouldn't want someone as a content expert joining the committee, but that's just my thought.
Okay, so Heather, what did you say earlier about by the next meeting?
By the next meeting, I guess if you're looking for something in writing or confirmation from the three people that they're not able to make the commitment to this board, that needs to be, whoever's interviewing or outreaching needs to have that document to us by the next meeting. And if, there'll be two outcomes next time. Either you found one of the three to make the commitment, or you didn't, and then we go back to my proposal.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
Sure, motion to continue till the next meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? So if the charter changes, would that position have to be posted on the website and wait the 14 days? Like
Probably, yeah,
if a
but-
new member comes on, right? I mean, that's how we're
We have
moving
to go through the new
forward.
process.
So if the charter changes, then we would have to post it the next day and do all that?
Right.
Okay.
But now, my understanding is it would only be somebody from the master plan committee?
It would be, there are 16 people that would be
Okay.
eligible for the
Who
position.
made that decision? It would only be somebody from the master plan committee.
Well, that's what
The whole
that's what
team,
the
the
proposal
6
is.
of us.
Well, it's just a
Decided.
proposal, but I mean, we're not voting on that. I mean, it could be someone at large. I mean, why would you post it the same? Why does it have to be specifically from the master plan committee? Why?
Because they're the content experts. We're incorporating the master plan into the zoning bylaws. So we want someone who has that expertise that have
But
already
it's the
spent 2
same,
years
Heather.
developing.
Why couldn't you put it at large and still get someone who is just as qualified?
Is there someone on the master plan committee you don't want on this committee? Is that what's happening
Well,
here?
it sounds like there's somebody on it that you want.
No, there's probably 5 people I would love to be on it.
Oh.
If you've seen the list, there's some excellent qualified candidates.
I mean,
I'd have a hard time choosing, to be honest, between the people. I think
you
two.
probably wouldn't get them all applied to begin with, but.
No, I don't think so, but it would be tough. I've thought about that too, at 5 people. There are literally 5 off the top
They
of my
could
head.
make it
that
at
I would-
large and that person could still get it.
No, we could definitely do that, but I would expect the same process, that it would go back to the committee and then I would come to you with the proposal. But it seems like there's people on the master plan committee that you don't want in this spot.
Now, how did you pick that out of what I said?
Because any other time we've made a change in charter for membership, it's gone right through. And this one really makes sense because the master plan committee is the
You came here, you
content
wanted to
expert.
remove that from the Board of Health to begin with, which we don't know if that's gonna happen or not gonna happen.
But Allison's already confirmed, she's reached out to the 3 people. So it's almost like you think I'm lying or Allison's lying.
That's not what I'm saying.
So what are you saying? Why are
We
you not?
appoint them, I
Right.
think we have the right to talk with them. I don't like someone else making a decision for me.
And I'm saying it was okay when Allison brought it up about removing Dave Willett because he never showed up. So she had at-large members, and actually at that point, they were already
I think this is
appointed
a-
against the charter.
I think it's a little bit different, I really do.
That's actually not true. It's not because he didn't show up, it's because he voted himself to not be a voting member any longer and was happy to step back and be an advisory role. It's not that he didn't show up.
That's not how it was portrayed. You can look at the minutes.